better about him than you did beginning of camp, obviously?
Yeah, he's done a good job. I mean, I think the first scrimmage he had right at 60 snaps and had probably 47 to 53 snaps in the last scrimmage. He gets, he's a guy that I do see that he regains his energy pretty quick as far as when he gets winded and things like that. So I think he's fine, ready to go.
Is he, based on the guys that you've had last year, I guess, Mount or Malden or whomever, I mean, how will he kind of play compared to what those guys have done in those spots previously?
He'll be fine. I mean, he's obviously got a skill set that is going to allow him to play the outside backer position. He shows the ability to set the edge on the run game, has some ability to rush the passer, and have a feel for how the guy's set. And so look forward to watching him play when it's live, and letting him showcase his talents and help us be successful as a team. Been a really good team guy as far as making sure that he fits in with the other players, and that's been fun to watch. And you can see where the players have started earning, he's earned their respect from a standpoint of the things he's done, both off the field here, the way he works, and the plays he's made in scrimmages and things like that. So he's fit in really nice, and look forward to making him a part of the rotation.
So are you expecting him to start?
We got some time yet. We'll see what happens.
We talked to Garrick and Bobby about offense. It's always questions about competition. I mean, you've got guys back, but yet you've got competition going on in positions.
I mean, you always have competition because that's how you get better. Guys are still competing. Nothing's etched in stone yet. We still got some time to evaluate, see how things go. Got another scrimmage situation coming up this Friday, so we'll see how that goes. I think the guys have worked hard. There are some guys competing, particularly in the back end, and they're going to continue to compete, throughout the rest of this week and next week to see, how they fall.
How's the competition with the cornerback opposite of Shaq, the other guy?
Yeah, I mean, all those guys are playing hard. All those guys are not only playing corner, they're playing nickel for us also. So, they're getting their looks, and we'll just have to continue to let them play and make a decision, maybe sometime next week as far as who's going to start. But at the end of the day, I think they're all going to play, and kind of rotate guys in and keep guys fresh from that aspect with those guys. So, we still got some time to find out exactly who's going to be, quote, the starter. But at the end of the day, they're all going to play.
Who are some of those guys that are?
Well, I think when you look, you're obviously talking about, Jair, Culver, Tremaine. I mean, all those guys right there have done a good job, and they'll continue to compete not only there but the field position too. And we'll play all those guys.
Besides Jair, any freshmen kind of stood out that you think you might be able to use, or is that something you'll decide?
I think that's something we'll decide. We still got some time. It's still early. I've been pleased with the progress of all of our freshmen. Isaac Stewart's a guy that he's not a freshman, but he's a first-time guy that really showed up in the first scrimmage and made some impact kind of plays, which was good to see. So him and Cannon did a nice job as far as another guy that didn't play a lot last year but has shown progress. So, it's still early. We'll continue to work with those guys and see if they can find a role for us.
Have there been any guys that gotten more fire out of it at camp compared to the spring?
I think the closer you get to games, everybody gets a little more. I think that this group, I think they enjoy each other, and I think they do enjoy playing together. They have worked hard, and they do compete, and that's important. That you always got to compete when you're on the practice field. So I think we got, when you start looking at the captains and the leaders, with Rankins and Kelsey and Burgess, those guys are quality individuals that have earned a lot of respect from the players that we have on our team, and it kind of showcases, with our players as far as the way they handle themselves. So they compete, and they do what we ask them to do.
Who's providing depth on that D-line?
Well, I mean, when you look at the guys that played last year between P.O., D'Angelo, and Rankins, obviously, those guys are playing. Hearns has done a nice job. Nick Dawson's done a nice job. Kyle Shortridge. Gigi is probably a guy that's came in and shown a little bit. And we'll kind of wait and see between him and Drew as we move forward over the next little bit what's going to happen there. But, really all of those guys, I think it's important. You got to play a lot of guys up front. And I would anticipate all the guys I mentioned getting some snaps.
How much focus is Auburn now, or have you moved into the point where you're?
Yeah, I mean, we've implemented a little bit over the last couple of days. Still working on a few concepts, but really for the most part now we'll be focused on trying to get ready for that game. A week from Saturday, and putting our attention on the things we got to do to stop them. They're obviously a tremendously talented offensive team, and we'll have to play well to compete, and we're certainly looking forward to the challenge.
As we're 10 days from the opening game, how challenging is it to have, I know you don't want to look past Auburn, but 3 games in 12 days like you guys will have, and how much of a challenge is that to start the season?
Yeah, I think it's kept our guys' attention because they've known that there were things that we did throughout the part of training camp that was for all 3 of those games. So that way, for example, there's things we did for Clemson that when we come in that Sunday, after the Houston game, we've already done those things. They're already on tape, and they've kind of going to be able to see them and have some recall because we did them in training camp. So we've already done that. Same thing with Houston with some of our plays that we'll run there. So it certainly is a challenge. The style of play, the style in which they play is similar, so that does help a little bit. So we'll try to utilize that to our advantage and try to keep some continuity with what we got to do. But it's certainly a challenge playing 2 quality opponents like you're getting ready to face. And then when you look at a team like Houston with the quarterback, when I saw him in the spring as far as watching tape, I mean, he's a pretty dynamic guy. So we know we got to take them one at a time, play each game, and we're certainly just going to focus on Auburn right now.
But what in general, makes you think that this front seven, especially which has some experienced guys, can step up, or what is it that's unique about this group?
Well, I think we just got to play. I mean, obviously we have some guys returning up there that had some success last year, but every year's a new year. We're certainly going to lean on those guys to provide some leadership and some production for us in their play. But at the end of the day, they just got to play, do their jobs, make sure you don't do too much, because what happens when you do too much is sometimes you can create a seam or out of a gap. We just got to do our job, our assignment, and then play as hard as you can, and trust the guys that are playing next to you are going to do their job. And if you do that, and at the end of the day, and you play harder than the team you're going to play, you got a good chance to win the game.
As guys get used to your style, I mean, what's the thing that you had to get used to in year 2?
I think that each year is different, meaning, last year you had a pool of players, and, defense is about finding ways to get your playmakers on the field, finding ways to put them in one-on-one situations to make impact kind of plays. And we were fortunate enough to have some guys that could do that last year. This pool, even though we have some guys coming back, there's still a different combination of players. So I think the biggest thing is you've always got to adjust to the players you have and the style of player you have, and just find ways to get your best players on the field. And that's something that is kind of unique each year. You still stay within your system, but at the same time you got to kind of tweak it here and there to try to find ways to get your players on the field.
Yeah, how did that how much did that motivate you about coming back? How eager?
Oh, I'm excited. I really like these guys. I really, I'm proud to coach these guys. They're fun to be around. I mean, when you start talking about guys like, Kelsey, Rankins, Burgess, Keith Brown, D'Angelo, I mean, I could just name all those guys. I mean, those guys work hard every day. They do what we ask them to do. They certainly believe in what we're doing, and we certainly believe in the way that they work and the way they prepare. So it's fun to see them grow, and I enjoy being around them, and that's probably the most exciting thing about being here that I like.
How close were you to going Oakland?
I've moved on from that. I'm worried about Auburn and trying to find a way for us to play well right now.
How different do you expect Auburn's offense to be this year than last year?
I think they're going to do the things that they do. I mean, obviously, they're going to tweak things relative to the personnel that they have. But at the end of the day, they've always been a tremendous running team. They're always going to be able to throw the ball vertically down the field off the play-action passes. They've got good players that can make plays one-on-one. When you get them in space, they can make guys miss. So you got to play good team defense. You got to play hard, and you got to communicate because of the tempo they go. So we understand the challenge. We just got to execute. All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.